fancy shit, huh?
All right, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Celine. I am a tabletop creator, Twitch streamer, TCG person, general nerd.
So what do you currently play?
Card gaming wise?
Yes.
Or just
I should be more pointed with the question.
What do you
there.
play? Everything. So generally, Magic is my card game of choice right now.
Gotcha. So you're familiar with MTG. So this One Ring. One Ring. If this comes out in the proper order, that joke will make sense for those folks that actually keep up with the channel. But so that's the game that you're familiar with.
Yes.
Then the game that today we're going to be discussing is Flesh and Blood. Now, in front of you here, we're gonna do this cool trick with my cameras. Ready? All right, we're gonna leave you in the corner over there.
Oh, nice.
The dunce cap. All
Hey,
right.
look, I'm in the corner on Twitch all the time. I'm used to that.
So, Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood is. Do you know anything about the game?
I have had one conversation with you about it, and then I watched the 9-minute intro video on the website.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
that's about what I know.
Perfect. So this is the newest set. This is called Dusk Till Dawn, and it is a supplemental set. So like Magic the Gathering, you have, I would say, core sets, and then you have every other type of set, and then you have like Commander products and some other weird ones. I'm not as well versed anymore because they've made it to where it's complicated.
Well,
as
and
all
they
get
don't
out.
even do core sets anymore. So
Gotcha. But this,
Yeah, but
I wouldn't really call this a core set. This is what they would refer to as a supplemental or an expansion pack. They kind of changed the term around. But in this, you're going to get specific cards that are around, in this case, a certain set of heroes. Now, because you're new, you would have no idea what the heroes are. You have no idea what the classes are, no idea what the talents are, no idea about anything about this, other than you've seen the outside of the product. So,
which is pretty.
yes. We're going to, and I don't know if we can reach it, but there's a box sitting over in that.
Box?
Well, actually, you know what? I might be
Like,
able-
what? There's a box over there. There's lots of boxes over there.
We're gonna do the Grando. Well, not the Grando tour. We're gonna pick a couple of random things here. So these are empty boxes, but there's a Welcome to Wraith. All right, now that chaos has been unleashed,
That's a lot of boxes. And more boxes.
Joey, we love you, buddy. We just had to. This is another card game that I started getting into. Now, this card game has since went defunct,
Aww.
but there's some revival things happening with it. That's a whole other conversation. We're not going there right now. Okay,
We're talking about Flesh and Blood right
we're
now.
talking about Flesh and Blood. But like, that's an
This is a
example of
Phyrexia box.
magic.
Ooh, the complete edition.
I don't know what that means, but I apparently had one. So.
It means you got the fancy lands and stuff in it.
Oh, see, okay. Now, well, you already have an open. Well, there's an open one. We opened a bunch of these.
I was gonna say, so we can do all empty boxes.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, for sake of argument. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you rearrange these from the first set to the current set. Now, obviously, you've just been told this is
This
the last
is the newest
set.
one.
That's the newest.
Sweet.
So, I know you have no
And
idea
this
where
one
to go.
is this one is special.
This
somehow.
one, yeah, this one's a special. We'll come back to that one. So the way this game kind of released was we began with Welcome to Wraith. Welcome to Wraith was the first set in Flesh and Blood, and it contained 4 heroes. And those heroes were Dory, the warrior, Katsu, the ninja, Bravo, the guardian, and what am I thinking of? Wait. I knew I was going to do this. I knew I was going to do the 4th one, and I was going to freeze. It's Dory, Katsu, Bravo, and Reinar, the brute.
Okay.
So these 4 heroes constitute 4 classes. Now, in this set, they did not have specializations just yet. You'll notice that this also has a different pack count than most other games. There's 24 packs in these. So in order to play, you can make a constructed deck or a different type of deck. So as an example, in the background here in your head, I know this is an ancillary product, but this was something they released, and they have not done since, but this is called the CC deck. Now, I don't know if the CC means anything to you at the moment, but there are two types of gameplay methodologies in, well, there's multiple, but the most predominant is CC or Blitz. CC is classic constructed.
Okay.
Blitz is a smaller deck. So this classic constructor is like 60 cards. Blitz is like 40 cards. There's a little bit more. 60 is really not an accurate term, but I'm giving it as a general number. There's actually like 80, and there's a pool, and you can do some stuff. But we're not going to bog you with the details necessarily.
Okay. We're not going to break my brain just yet.
But this is one of those heroes. This is he's a ninja. Now I have a bunch of their classes and cards. We can talk about that later. I'm just going to kind of organize these so that you can kind of get an idea. But needless to say, that was the first 4 heroes. Now the second set that came out, and my personal favorite, which is where my dash boo, or I should say my favorite character came from, is Arcane Rising.
Ooh,
Arcane Rising was the second set and introduced 4 brand new heroes. Again, classes, no talents. In this case, talents are like as an example, a subclass. So like if Magic had like Human Warrior, imagine having, in this case, Human Earth, or Warrior Earth, or Illusionist Fire, or whatever. Okay. Those are bad examples because I don't think any of those actually exist in this game. But,
but
it's a main class and a subclass or a sub-talent. So in this one, they released 4 new heroes. There was a wizard who's Kano. There was a archer or a ranger who was called Azalea. There was a mechanologist called Dash. And then there was a rune blade called Chain. And I believe they actually do say the hero names on
the names.
No, they just say mechanologist, ranger, rune blade, wizard. So they actually do have. Oh, cool. So I guess I didn't necessarily know that, but they do have the classes at least spelled out for it. So, pop quiz.
Oh, geez.
If you were to pick one of these hero classes as your class that you wanted to play, let's say you wanted to play a wizard, which box would you buy? Which booster packs would you buy?
If I wanted to play a wizard?
Yep.
Ones that say wizard.
Perfect. So if
I was afraid that was a trick question.
If you were to buy any cards from this pack here, would you be able to play with any of them in your class?
So I want to say no, but I feel like that's a trick question.
It kind of is a trick question. So in Flesh and Blood, there are different types of cards, and we can use, as an example, a starter deck to showcase some of this. I'm just going to arbitrarily pick one here. Hopefully we have one that's really easy. We're going to pick on Kano, since we're talking about wizards. Kano is a wizard. And the Kano wizard subtype, you'll see that his equipment is a wizard equipment, But the cool thing about Flesh and Blood is they every once in a while have these things called generics. Mm-hmm. Generics are a different type of card, so Whisper of the Oracle is a generic. Generic means that you can use it for any class. You do not necessarily need to specifically have it for the class that is the case. But this card, which is a Zap, is a wizard action, meaning you can only use it with what class?
A wizard.
There you go. See, you're already leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else.
Yeah,
Now, these starter decks come with these really interesting how-to-play cards. And in this case, I don't know if you want to read that, but basically, the Wizard is a big brain deck. It's kind of like a super combo type of thing, and typically Wizard is one of the most complicated decks to navigate.
I mean, the 5-star difficulty kind of like
gave that away.
Tipped me off there. Like right, I don't know if you can see it in the glare.
Oh, absolutely. But that is an example of one of the heroes that's in there. And you'll notice that a hero has some attributes, abilities, name, health, hand size. Mm-hmm. We can talk about that in a bit, but I want to go over the actual classes first before we get into that. All right, so there we go. Next up, we have a Crucible of War set. This is a smaller box. And you might ask, why? What's a smaller box mean? Again, supplemental, because I know I already ruined that a little bit by telling you about Dusk Till Dawn. But a supplemental set, in this case, typically has a smaller pack size. So in this case, these were 10 cards. These up here were, I believe, 15 respectively, or depending on if you count tokens, it's like 16, I think. But
I think it's 15 random. Yeah, 15 randomly inserted cards.
I'm going to pull out my Now, for the old school Magic players in the room, people are going to probably recognize this.
Oh, jeez.
It's my Garfield box. But what we're going to do... Oh, yeah, there we go. This is my master repository. We're going to walk you through the beauty of the pack art. So, we were talking earlier about Welcome to Wraith. Oh, history fact, sorry. There's your Katsu the Ninja. Bravo. What am I missing there? I'm missing Dory. Where's my Dory? Calling Dory. Dory, welcome Dory. Dory, coming to the playing field, please. Thank you. Thank you, please. Please, Dory.
Just keep swimming, Dory. Just keep swimming.
Just keep on swimming. This is my, I pledged to myself I was going to keep one of each pack art for the whole game. There's a Dory. Oh, you found it. Perfect. Well, that one's going back in that stack. And I'm making 2 sets so that I can do a way down the road later video. I'm hoping 5-10 years down the road, I'm going to open one of every set as they keep going. So anyways, that is your first 4 heroes that came in that set. Now, right after that, we discussed what was the next set?
Arcane Rising.
Arcane Rising. Ruinblade, Kano, which is your wizard, Dash, and Azalea. So those are the ones that are there. I know I paused and we went backwards for those people that are impatient, because the impatientness is a thing, I'm pretty sure.
Squirrel.
Squirrel. But what I'd like to point out now is that the next set, Crucible of War, the card packs look and feel totally different. So here are some example of Crucible of War. So Crucible of War, you'll notice, is a smaller pack. It's a supplemental
It's only 10
set.
cards.
Now, inside of that set, they encompassed everything from the first 2 sets. Not everything like exact cards, but classes. So they had all of these classes and generics available in that set. So, if you were to want to play Warrior, what box or pack could you buy if you only had these 3 currently released?
For Warrior?
For Warrior.
Wraith Box.
Yep.
Crucible of War.
And
technically Arcane Rising for generics.
Ding, there you go. But you got the fundamentals down, because that's an important thing for people to take note of, because that truly does mess with people. Alrighty then. So, next on the docket was the 4th set. Now, the 4th set was Monarch. Now, I'm not even going to begin to explain why in these older sets there were things like you heard me mention First Edition and Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
They did this whole thing where there was First Edition and Unlimited, and you'll also see that as an example on here, it says Unlimited, right?
Yeah.
Because First Edition boxes are extremely expensive and very, very rare, especially for these first 3 sets. You're talking like several $1,000, $1,000 or $2,000, again, $1,000 or $2,000. And then these went up to, at one point, about $800, $900 a box.
Oof.
There were some weird things that happened. We won't go into that historical piece. We don't need to worry about that. Needless to say, I do want to point out, though, that we will be showcasing for you. Monarch did not display the heroes in the set. However, these are First Edition, and these are Unlimited. You'll notice that the Unlimited moniker is across the top.
Oh, interesting.
And vice versa, it's the Unlimited. So basically,
and the foiling is different.
for my pack sets, this is why I kept one of each of these. I still don't actually have sealed alphas of these because they are just so hard to find. So, you know, I have 1 or 2 First Edition of these, and that's about it. Like, I'm pretty much, that's about as far back as I was able to go. Now, I started playing, mind you, right around here leading into this set. Like, that's why Mechanologist to me is my kind of resident, what I enjoy. I know that's not everybody's favorite class, but snooze you lose. Got it. Okie dokie. That is First Edition and Unlimited. I'm just reorganizing my pack arts. Alright. After Monarch, because in Monarch there were 3 heroes that were released. Did I talk about those heroes with you yet? Because that's actually the lead-in to the latest set, Dust Till Dawn, by the way. So I do want to make sure that we talk about that, just at least in brief, so that you can kind of have some...
So we did not talk about that yet.
Okay. So, Monarch had 3 heroes, and this was the first time in the game they introduced something called talents. A talent is like a subclass. So we're going to take the first 3 heroes I lied to you. It's actually 4 heroes. I always forget that they did one. Sorry. All right. So you had a Levia, which is a
brute.
and it's also Shadow.
A shadow. Okay. I was like, I know it is either shadow or hero, but I think hero is just the generic
And this
word.
is Chain. Chain is a
shadow rune blade.
got it. So this is Bolton. Bolton is a
Light warrior.
and Prism is a
Light illusionist.
all right. So now, up until now, Illusionist is brand new, right? You haven't seen that before, but you have seen
Brute. and
Rune Blade. And Warrior. So a pop quiz time because we just need to look at the titles here. If you were to play Prism, which is a light illusionist, which cards in the whole game up to this point would have cards that would play with this hero?
Like specifically with that hero?
Yep. Specifically with Prism, who is a light illusionist.
Well, so this is where I would get all the illusionist stuff from.
Okay.
But you could get generics from anywhere.
Yep. But what about light cards?
I haven't seen light cards anywhere.
So light is one of the 2 talents, light and shadow, that we've introduced here. So this hero is primarily focused in this box. And that means that really you have to get things in this box in order to play that hero.
Yeah.
Now, if I were to talk about Bolton here, who's a light warrior, what would be your 2 best options to purchase to get cards for Bolton?
Wraith had the warrior stuff in it.
Yep.
And this one for light stuff.
So we have Bolton, which is a light warrior, and you'd said that you got it from...
Warrior stuff here.
Yep.
Generic stuff technically from anywhere. But you also have warrior stuff here.
Yep.
And then light stuff from here.
And also some warrior stuff from here. Or
Yes.
combo cards like light and warrior, because you'll not know this, but they basically have cards that are locked into a light warrior card, meaning that only Bolton could run it, but Dory, who is just a warrior, could not.
Right.
So that's a way that they have kind of helped restrict the classes so that certain characteristics or certain play styles are open to certain heroes that are not for other heroes.
That makes sense.
All right, so up to now, that would be where the heroes are at. We'll just leave those there for now. It doesn't hurt anything. Now, that's the 4th set. That was a pretty major milestone for the game. And the next set that came after was indeed Core Supplemental. Core, now if you saw these here, which do you believe would be maybe the next set? If I said it was a Core set, which really means you are
Looking at the big boxes.
down to these 3 here, probably.
I have no clue, but I'm going to guess this one because it is a pretty box.
There you go. That actually was the next one. You did good. All right, so Tales of Aria. Now, this is kind of the last of the last when it comes to kind of how things worked out. And what I mean by that is the last of the sets in Flesh and Blood in what they refer to as the 1.0 block. Well, technically, I'm going to already spoil. This is your next one.
Oh,
It
nice.
kind of ends about here is where the 1.0 officially ends. These are all 2.0. This is kind of an important segue. But the reason that's important is because this is the last time you'll see the 1st edition and unlimited booster packs. Yeah, we're still recording. I was making sure. Now, this set was a little bit weird. They did a different ratio. 4 heroes, every hero, 4 heroes. This set,
This has 3.
3 heroes.
I cheated. I looked at
You
the box.
cheated and looked. So you have Lexi, Briar, and Oldhim. Now, just for sake of showing you here, I know it's going to be a tad bit harder, but this is your Lexi pack art with a unlimited Lexi on top there. You have a 1st edition Briar pack with an unlimited Briar pack on top. You got the 1st edition Oldhim with an unlimited Oldhim on top, and those are the 3 heroes. Now, we're going to stack them like this because there's something unique that they did in this set that they did not do with other sets. So, what do you see as far as keywords in the title section?
I see elemental.
Elemental.
That's a new one.
That's a new one. You are correct. So, any idea what elemental might mean?
That they can use elements?
That's a good one. That's a solid choice if I had to say so myself.
And I have a feeling that some of them are probably better with some elements than others.
That is also a
Because
valid...
old him looks like a very cold man.
Oh, well, he's also... And I haven't talked about this, but there is a point-based system where heroes come and go through the game as the game ages.
Mm-hmm.
And Oldhim has what they call Living Legend out. So his chain, so has another special character that we'll talk about in here that I don't have an example out easily to access, but those heroes have gone into tournaments, basically done the mono-a-mono brawl, and just kind of went boom, and they've surpassed, they've won, and then now they have retired, meaning that those heroes are not legal in Class Constructed, but there's another format called Living Legend format, which is where those heroes can come back and have fun there. But for
nice.
a constructed tournament, if you fall in love, as an example, if my mechanologist Dash here, if Dash does well enough, gets to a point where she Living Legends out, well, there's currently no other mechanologist alternative, spoiler alert, because there really isn't for adults just yet. That's hopefully what the next set might be, but I don't know. That's not really confirmed or denied or anything. But it's one of the very few classes that do not have multiple. Like you've heard Ranger here, so you have a Ranger, and then there's also another Ranger. Well, there's several. The Lexi's another Ranger. Warrior, Runeblade. There's a couple different ninjas that we'll be seeing as they pop. So basically, they've expanded, but for some reason that one's through the class being left on. So anyways, we'll touch on this. Elements or elemental. They have the keyword that says elemental, but you'll see here it says essence of, and this one says earth. Essence of, what is that? Ice and lightning. Essence of
earth and
ice. So in this set, the way they basically worked stuff is that there were cards at the bottom that had elements on them. Ice, fire, lightning. Obviously, you can only use those within that, so there was a restricted pool, but it was a little bit more, unique because your hero had the class. You could use class-specific cards, but you could use element cards, but only if the element was on your hero.
Oh, nice. That makes sense.
I just want to look at one thing. It says we got 50 minutes. Cool. All right, we're doing good. This is a long one. All right. So Everfest.
There's a lot to cover.
Everfest was, again, the last set. Well, sorry. Everfest was the last in the 1.0 block, but this was the last set that truly had a first edition and unlimited pack. If you ever got to a store, you probably won't find any first edition packs anywhere anymore. They've pretty much phased them out, especially now that these last 4 sets have come out. But this one here, it says first edition. Now, there is rumor that there is theoretically a reprint of this available somewhere on the worldwide whatever, and it is unlimited, but they don't know if they're ever going to release it, so it is what it is. Now, if you had to take a wild guess, I'm sure you've probably already seen, how many cards come in a supplemental set?
10.
So this is the first of the supplemental sets, and you'll see something really cool here. This is the first pack that is paper, so feel that pack. This is the new thing that they started to do in Everfest. It was revolutionary in the gaming industry. So it's a recyclable pack, basically. In this case, it's all paper. Yeah, it's all paper, meaning that you can basically be a little bit more green with the environment, because obviously as we rip in the cards, that was the thing. So this was their first foray into that. Now, Everfest also did something really interesting. Everfest had support for almost every class, I believe, and talent, because talents had been introduced, right? So there was lights, there was illusionists, there was shadows, there was elemental cards, there was every other thing. So up to this point here, this encompasses basically about 2 years worth of the product suite, and on top of that, up to here, there were heroes that were introduced in the game that were not necessarily heroes that were from other sets. Now, there was also heroes introduced here. I won't go into the details on those heroes for the sake of argument here, but there are young heroes, which is again for that format called Pop Quiz. Starts with a B.
Brawl.
Nope, Blitz.
Blitz.
Close enough. And the adult heroes play in CC, which is
Constructed.
Classic Constructed. Good.
Just throw out a magic term that starts with a B. It was close.
Brawl.
Brawl.
So, pretty much everything that's important in these. Now, the first 2.0 set, I'll just go ahead and identify, is Uprising. Now, Uprising basically came out and still have paper packs.
I like this paper pack.
They went to 16 cards,
Fancy.
which is different than 15. And in this...
Really?
Yeah. Never would have guessed. I can't math worth a damn.
I have a feeling it is one more than 15.
And in this, they introduced 2 new heroes. Phi and Dromai. You'll notice here that they have a common theme similar to over here in the Elements. They're draconic, but you also have Illusionist and Ninja. So you can start to see how they tied Ninja back to the first set, Illusionist back to this set. So there's some commonality that as you start to draw webs and look at these things, you can see the differences in the heroes. Now, these heroes, obviously, you know, in the draft format, right, they're designed to be able to draft and play together and have fun within those formats. But these heroes kind of helped kind of change, I don't want to say they didn't change the game, but when 2.0 came out, they became much more, you don't have to argue over first edition and unlimited. The packs were there, the printing was one run, or I say one run, but basically your store didn't have to hold back or worry about people, well, I only want to buy first edition packs or things like that. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to Dynasty. Dynasty is the first 2.0 supplemental set. You'll notice it's still 10 cards, paper pack, and that contained a lot of really cool stuff. Now, at this point in the game, they've introduced some new rarity levels and some things that, again, I'm skipping over for the sake of just talking heroes and set releases. I'm not really trying to confuse you on rarities and chase cards and, you know, marbles and blah, blah, blah. That's a whole different conversation. We're not there just yet. I want to talk about heroes and hero choice. Dynasty released several new heroes as well, but it also kind of did this really interesting thing where they crammed in an entire class, a new class, an assassin class in this set here. So Arachne was the assassin that they released, and it came out in this set. So
Is she a spider?
it's a hunchback looking. I'd have to show you a photo. I have a card somewhere, but I don't have it with me.
Well, Arachne.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, I'm sure there is a.
I was just curious.
There is a thing, but that is really what encompasses here. So the primary focus of this one is it came out as a brand new class. So if you wanted assassin cards, the only place in the game you could find them was right there.
Until
Outsiders. Now, Outsiders is a humdinger of a set. Got that for my grandma.
Humdinger?
Humdinger.
Oh, there's more assassin stuff in here.
Yes.
And ninjas. And rangers.
What will they think of next?
Okay, so assassins or ninjas? Who would win?
Well, so there's actually a set of 3. Now, I want to also show this. This is one of the first times this happened. You'll see that the paper packs continued with, that is another Arachne. This is a different variation of it. This is a Zuri. That is a, I believe, a ranger. And then you have Fat Boy. Riptide. Gosh dang, I couldn't remember his name.
Is he the assassin?
Riptide is...
No, he's the ninja.
Riptide, well, this was...
Or not.
Pulling this out. It's going to take me a second to get these over here. They're all in different categories.
Dig through the box. What does the divider say?
Well, it's because they released 6 decks. So, starter-wise, no starters. Technically, they were the original CC starters. No starters, no starters. 4 starters, 3 starters, no starter. 2 starters, no starters. 6 starters. And then there's another, we'll talk about History Pack. We'll bring this in here in just a second. History Pack has 6 starters as well. So the 3 heroes here, you have the Arachne, the Assassin. You have Azuri, it's an assassin as well. You have Ranger, which is a hero. Yeah. Now, what they did is they also re-released 3 heroes. They released Benji, which was one of the ones I did not talk about, but that came over here in Crucible of War. They released Katsu, which is a ninja from over there. And who was there was one more. Katsu, Benji, Zuri, because there was the reason this was interesting is they released 2 of each type. So when you're drafting, you never knew what you were picking. It was either like you would go between either Benji or Katsu, you'd go between Izuri or Arachne, or you go between Azalea. That's who the other one is. So they re-released Azalea in Riptide over here. So you had one hero from here, one hero from here, and
Azalea was the ranger.
Yes, Azalea was the ranger. Now the other thing to point out is they actually did 2 print runs depending on the printer facility, and you'll notice that they went back to plastic wraps because the Japanese printer could only print in this format versus the Belgian printers could print in that. So I just wanted to point that out because that is something that's confusing for some people. Some people thought they were fake. Some people were really concerned, like, "Oh my God, my box is tampered with." No, it's just this is one of the few cases where there are 2. Dust Till Dawn, as an example, I believe is all printed in Belgium, so they're all going to be paper as well. But that is kind of the where things live. So
makes sense.
All right.
Time out.
Yep.
Do you have Kleenex?
Yeah.
I am being attacked by allergies.
Okie dokie. So where did we get off? We had the different.
Yep, we went through all 6 of the heroes here.
Okay.
And explained the drafting, because you had 2 of each that you. One of each, one of the 3. You know, words. Words are hard, but we just covered this one.
Cool. And the latest set is Dust Till Dawn. Now we've opened all the packs that we've had so far. Okie dokie, one more time. So the latest is Dust Till Dawn. Yep. We've opened all the packs we've opened so far, so really we haven't had any that are here for a demo, but we'll be opening a sealed box here in a bit to demonstrate. Now in Dust Till Dawn, they specifically are going back to some of the light and shadow cards, and there are some generic cards, but for somebody like myself that is a dash main for a mechanologist, this set really has no draw for me personally because there's really not a lot of cards in this set that truly work for my class, and really any other class that kind of is like an assassin or a ninja, those classes aren't really going to benefit from this set. So part of that's to say is that you just have to really know what set you're going to buy or what hero you're playing to know what cards you're going to look for. Now the elephant in the room is this thing here called History Pack. Now I won't go into the crazy detail of all of the historical reasons on History Pack, but History Pack 1 came out, and it is a combination of the first 3 sets. So this really encompasses this whole block of...
This whole row?
Yep. And History Pack 1 has packs that look like this. And those basically are packs that contain a smattering of cards from those sets. Not everything. There's some that they omitted. And inside of these packs, there are only 10 cards, and they're white border instead of black border. So they're reprints. They're kind of like Chronicles for the Magic World. There's a History Pack 2 that's going to be coming out, and it's going to encompass these here, because these are all out of print by this stage, right? So really, even this technically is probably out of print. I think the only things that are really in print are these. Well, technically this is already out of print because it was a 1 print run set. But the only things that are really kind of available, even in like distro world, you're probably going to see like these. Anything that exists of this is pretty much already in the wild out there and probably not very much ready to go. Now, History Pack, since it has those, you'd imagine has those same heroes and everything else. So it's very interesting when you open those. So we'll probably have you crack one of those just to give you an experience of what that is, because I got a couple extra here laying on the side. I didn't realize I had that many. As I went through my little backlog, so we can crack probably 2 of those and call it a day. But that is that's basically the stuff in a nutshell. So I'm going to take all the heroes back. Any questions?
Plenty, but I have a feeling we will address them as we go.
Perfect. So I'm going to roll backwards here my pack pile. I've discovered I'm actually missing some of my second set. So I have a first set of packs here, and then I was trying to make a second set so that I could keep both. And apparently, I oopsed and don't have that. Now for Welcome to Wraith, I hadn't talked about that, but there's actually 2 print runs of Welcome to Wraith. They removed 1 single card.
Really?
Which is called Drone of Brutality because they banned that card.
Oh, so they just removed it from printing it? Just like, nope, we're going to stop.
Well, when they redid the print runs for the set, they actually rechanged it, and they essentially kind of said like, it's the same cards, but because it was printed in a different printer, they, I guess, had the ability to remove a card from the print sheet.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, I'll leave those there. So those, here, we have one extra of this, right? I want to confirm. I'll let you open a Crucible. I don't have many Crucible left. Just want to confirm. What do I feel? I shouldn't have put it all at the bottom. That's I only have one EverQuest pack. That was why I was very confused.
Everfest has a very carny feel to it.
It was the Carnival. They had a slot called the Carnival slot. They did. So I have one Crucible here, so maybe I only have 2 Crucibles. Sorry. I'll find more one of these days.
I'm sure they're out there somewhere. Somebody is holding on to sealed product.
Yeah, not that much.
Really?
Yeah, I would think most of it's been pretty much ceremoniously opened at this point. I mean, I'm sure there are people that are holding on to stuff. I have my copies of certain things, mostly because I'm weird and I want to have, you know, my historical pack collection. But so yeah, we'll go ahead and wipe these off the board. I gotta put these away somewhere.
Boxes. They are really cool boxes, though.
Oh yeah, you can tell that this one I got from my LGS. Now this one, made in Belgium. That's the first print run of that box. That's the one that is not the made in Japan box, which this is also made in Belgium box. But the Japan boxes are a little bit bigger in size, or they basically, I'll show you later off camera, but there's an actual size difference in the different ones. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop this recording and start a new one. You're Captain.